Hello there, and welcome. Welcome to Higurashi One Day Cry. Welcome to Hinamisawa. I'm nervous to start playing this once again. I should say welcome back, as a matter of fact. Welcome back to Hinamisawa. Um, First of all, I hope that you're having a great day, afternoon, night, whatever you may be having right now, whatever time it might be for you. Um, Last time we were in Hinamisawa, we were in the shoes of Keiichi Maebara, and boy was he going through it, wasn't he? And understandably so. We're gonna continue this story. It has been a fascinating story so far. It's been an incredible journey. I want to continue it. I want to finish this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and click continue and load. We were in chapter 10. We had finished chapter 10 and we had done the tips as well. So we will now load and continue to chapter 11, I believe. Yes. Yeah, after 10 there comes 11. So yeah, let's continue this. Okay. This was the first time I'd ever woke with such clarity. It was 5 oh wait a second, let's get the mouse out of the way. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. Oh, that shit happens all the time. To me, I wake up before I have to wake up, before my alarm wakes me up. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch. Hold on, I need to say okay. I was like, okay. Sorry. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday I was unilaterally declared that I will be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. This is how I was finishing up breakfast. Mom rose groggily from her slumber. My Keiichi, you're up late early. Is there some sort of school event? Boy, you have no idea what types of events have going on in school, but I know that you don't mean that. Not really. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread down my throat. You're leaving already? What about lunch? If you don't wait a bit, I can make it. If I waited for her to make lunch, then it will end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of me running into Rena and Mion on the way. Yes, from today onwards I was going to go to school alone. I'll be fine for today. Then what will you do for lunch? I'll sleep out and buy some bread or something at the store. Really? Then here's some lunch money. Be sure to bring me back the receipt. I took the 1,000 yen bill from mom and slipped into my pocket. It's fairly early, sorry. Is Rena-chan up this early as well? Nope, just me. Do you tell Rena-chan that you're leaving early? That's the whole point. I have no reason to tell her every little detail now, do I? Finding it difficult to answer in the onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face. Tell Rena I went ahead when she comes. Hey Keiichi, wait. It's not that I didn't trust my parents. It's just I couldn't rely on them. They couldn't help me. I could only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. What a situation now. Oh my god. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. For the first time since I moved here, I headed down the road alone. Up until now, I have always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I always met with the same people in the same places. But today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rena wasn't in the spot where we usually met, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with Miyum. Sorry. The land of the trees shadow at the morning air, The brightness of the sun, it was completely different a type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It left me with the pressure that I had destroyed the illusion Inamisawa had set up for me before it had enough time to repair all of the plots needed to deceive me.
あら、ケイチくん。
My,
今
Keiichi-kun,
朝は早いわね。
you're
ま
so
さか
early
早朝
today.
から待ち合わせ
Is everyone meeting early this morning? Bro, why is everybody so fucking noisy? The person who called out to me was someone we always pass by as they were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. Their name was I forgot. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually pass
今朝
each
は
other.
早くに目が覚めちゃったので気分転換なんです。
I woke up early today, so I thought it would be a good change of
あまり
pace.
気にしないでください。
That's all. I threw out a random
レナちゃん
excuse.
やミオンちゃんはどうしたんだい
What about Rena-chan and
今日は
Mia-chan?
一人なの
Are you by yourself today? Again, you're being fucking noisy. Why? Nosy. Why? Why do you care so much? We're kids going to school. Well, not exactly kids, but teens going to school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why it's the village asking that? The villager, I don't know. I was being asked the same type of questions that my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting bag manner. It wasn't funny as where Brenna was each time I passed by someone, but maybe it was to be expected. I mean, not really. Honestly, I find it kind of weird that they care so much, but alright. It's because for so long we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I let my guard down, we could still be Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. Man, I feel so bad for him, dude. You spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you? Beep, beep, beep. Uh-oh. No! A car horn blaring from out of nowhere. It's Oishi. Even though I was walking lost in thought, that horn was way too close. A mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. By the time I turned around, the bank's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I had seen plenty of cars brake to the opposite shoulder to avoid pedestrians, but this car was doing the opposite. It felt like It felt like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. What the hell? I thought that maybe it was Oishi, but this is a van. That blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing something much more important. That large mass was hurtling right at me. Was it going to hit me? The inside of my head instantly flooded with a painfully cold liquid. In that moment, the scene before me, no, time itself had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the band so close that I had no way to dodge it, and my body, the upper half, twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. If I lost focus, this moment wouldn't pass, and I would probably be flowed over, caught in this silly pose. In this silly pose, you know, not to take away from the pressure of the moment, but I almost got ran over once when I was in high school. I was so fucking tired. I had slept for like an hour or two before heading to high school. I was going through a lot of stuff, and when I got off the bus, I decided to cross without looking. I almost got hit by a van myself. Just a train of thought that passed me by just now. Bent my upper body over towards the patty by the side of the road. If I bent far enough, I got away with just being hit by the side view mirror. Oh my god. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal stasis was shattered by the deafening sound of the van. The side mirror struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off through the air like a top, locked in my contorted position. Kasplash! Sent tumbling through the air, I crashed into a muddy body by the side of the road. My entire body was soiled and drenched, but the choice I had made in the instant was unmistakably for the best. I was covered in mud, but when the alternative was being hit by the car, it was the closest I could be to being unscathed. Rising out from the body, I had enough in me to glare over at the stop van and yell profanities at the driver. I didn't when this happened to me. I didn't get hit by anything, but the driver was able to brake. But I almost caused an accident, and I was the one being yelled at. I didn't yell at them because I knew that it was my fault. I'm not sure if he was able to see me, but the band sped up suddenly.
待てよクソ
Wait, damn it!
これってひき逃げって言うんじゃねえのかよ
This this was what they call a hit and run, wasn't it? I couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. The disgrace of being covered in mud hurt me more than any physical wounds. I slogged through the muddy body and made my way back onto the road. No way they did that on
犯罪じゃねえ
purpose.
のかよチクショー
No way. This is a crime, goddammit. Shit, I'll track you down and sue you. If I go looking for a bat, I'm sure to find it in this little village. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and I had become so narrow that one car could barely fit through. It wasn't a place you could hear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, but the car just now was closer to my side of the road than the other when it went past me. Even as I cursed, I was desperately trying to suppress the dark cloud rolling up within me. This wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? Thinking it back, oh my god. I did feel like there had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while. No way. No way, no way, no way. This cannot be true, dude. I refuse to believe this shit. No way now the whole village is after me. That's right. As soon as I parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had the feeling the whole time. If he had wanted to pass me, then he had no shortage of chances. Normally, I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner, but I was lost in thought and now I was kicking myself for not realizing he was there sooner. And then, when the pan became narrow and there was no one else inside, he floored it. If I had hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been no laughing matter. As the adrenaline rush from nearly being run over subsided and the realization of just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in, there was no doubt about it. The band was intentionally trying to hit me. A cold, vicious sweat seeped from my scalp and slid down my back before dribbling off. I struggled to avoid falling into a panic. There was still a possibility that this was really just an accident. True. Calm down, Keiichi. But also don't be naive, Keiichi. Oh my god. Being that lax will get you killed next time. You need to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. But okay, if we're scared of Mio and Arena, only if they were capable of driving will I believe, like, yeah, okay. Like, this could have happened. But now, considering a ban in the mix, I don't know if somebody who can drive a ban could try and kill me. If my enemy was really out to kill me, then next time they will use a more reliable method. If that time came, and I was acting like I was now, getting covered in mud was the price I had to pay for my own naivety. Covered in mud without an injury. Not even a sprain. I guess this was what you would call the silver lining. I began walking again, this time cautiously. Wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I suspected only Rena and the others until now. No, it was because I had suspected that I had believed there were no other enemies. Oishi-san had said so, didn't he? There was the possibility of a village conspiracy. Yes, that is true. That much is true. But like again, you're I don't know, man. Are there really motives enough for him to be chased by the whole village? This is just because he talked to Oishi. And if Oishi knew that, then he's a piece of crap because he's putting, Keiichi in danger. Was I really mirrored so deeply into the situation that I had no choice but to try and carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be safest to just hold myself up in my house? But the moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me will abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. I recall the days Oishi-san told me of when Inamisawa was still called Onikakushi, finding tale of an entire village of demons hunting their prey, surrounding them and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons. One must not pretend not to see it. The enemy were numerous, the whole village. The villagers, with their unwavering faith in the curse, will do nothing to help me. Stop me, no, to help me. The strong sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I had no idea what was going on anymore, and I suspected it was the work of a man. I would catch a glimpse of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And when I suspected it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. What was coincidence? What was intentional? Yeah. Who was my enemy and who was a bystander? No. What I really truly wanted to know was how did I end up with the proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually, an answer in a form I could understand will appear. I don't care about when that will happen, because until then, I cannot die. That alone fuel my resolve to fight and will keep me alive. Okay, Keiichi refuses to die. Makes sense. And is willing to fight, but to fight the whole village is just insane. I honestly, please, just look for help within your family, maybe. I remember seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed. There was a padlock on the door bearing my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at the school. I started going around the school grounds impatiently. But all I could find were things like pieces of lumber, nothing that I could bring into the classroom easily. Then I had an epiphany. I should search inside the classroom. There was something in the classroom to begin with, that there wouldn't be a problem. That is true. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early. Nobody else was there yet. I wondered, what could I find in the classroom? I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat, but it couldn't be helped at this point. Until the gym storage shed was open, I needed to find a substitute. A lingering hint of naivety whispered that there was no way I'd be attacked at school, but such sharp ideas would no longer protect me. The thing that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I had once thought impenetrable. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredibly frightening thought, but I believe that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyways, I will survive. So long as I live, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. Hmm. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there could be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of an emergency, there was probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. My gaze landed on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Mion used to store her pile of game was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to still be a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later. But first, I needed a weapon. And one of my classmates, if one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I simply began opening the lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled up with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella! Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you found that umbrella, right? An umbrella can actually work. If I couldn't find anything better, then this would have to be my weapon. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened up a locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was, without a doubt, a metal bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up. There was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of mold, there was also hung a baseball uniform. It was probably the locker of a student in a Pee-wee league or something like that. If that was the case, then he probably asked for it back. At that time, I could hear the voices of the children scuffling their way noisily from the hallway. Amongst them, I could make out Rika-chan and Satoko. Good morning. My, you're quite early this morning, Keiichi-san. Again, if I see the eyes on Rika the way that I've seen them on Rena, I think I might just quit the fucking game. I'm not ready for that. Rika is my favorite character so far in the game. Sadako is not, but Rika so far has been really a wholesome character. I cannot see her being involved in this BS. Maybe she is. Maybe I'm being tricked by the game. I nonchalantly hit the bat and I was holding behind my back. What is it with your outfit? You're covered in mud. Yeah, I had a little accident. I'm going to change now, so cut me some slack. With that said, I began taking off my clothes. Satoko began to blush just as I expected her to. I think it's so funny that she still keeps an eye open, right? Like, hey, so I don't want to watch, but still watch. Changing in front of a lady. Have you not talked at all?
着替えをじーっと見てるレディもしつけがなってないと思うぞ。
That is great. That is a great point. I would think that a lady staring at someone who was changing will be the one lacking
男子は
intact.
更衣室がないんだから。
There's no changing room for the boys, so just deal with it. As a talk of feigned disgust, she went to the hall, still blushing. Conversely, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to change.
リカちゃんもレディなら着替えを見てるのはよく
Yeah, if Rika-chan is a lady as well, then I don't think it will be appropriate for you to be watching.
僕はレディーじゃないですからね。
I'm not a lady, so it's fine. Oh, but I don't think she's doing this in a non-innocent manner. I think that she just legit thinks this. She's like, oh, you know what? I'm not grown up, so I'm fine, right? I don't care. She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned
じ
eyes.
ゃあリカちゃんも今からレディー
Then, sounding out, you're a lady.
レディーなら仕方ありませんです。
If I'm a lady, I'm supposed to be most. Oh, Rika. Yeah, please leave. I like legit. I don't know. I'm giving her too much naivety and innocence. But I honestly, Keiichi was obviously embarrassed, right? That's why he wanted her to get the fuck out. But I think that she didn't do it in that, you know, type of way, right? I think that she was like, I really don't give a fuck about seeing you change or not, because I don't care and I don't want to leave the classroom. At least that's the way I took it. I don't know. Rika-chan, appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady. Oh man, made her way to join Satoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back towards me.
ケイイチは野球を始めますですか？
Are you going to start playing baseball? Seems that Rika-chan had noticed the bat.
ああちょっとさ
Yeah, just,
体がなまってさ
I was feeling a bit out of shape,
ちょっと素振りでも始め
so I thought I'd just try practicing my swing.
健康に気を使うのはとても良いことだと思いますです。
I think it's wonderful you're taking care of your health. She was talking like an old lady despite her appearance. I think that's why, yeah, I understand. I think that's why I find her character to be so fucking awesome, so wholesome. Because I truly do believe that she cares about the characters, and she seems to be really friends with everybody and really cares about everybody. After saying that, Riki-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once more.
そのバットなくさないでくださいねです。
Please don't lose that bat. It seems she already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There was no name in the locker door. That's odd. I didn't know whose bat it was, but I will be borrowing it until they complained. It wouldn't be for long, just until the gym storage shed was opened. After quickly changing into the tracksuit, I checked the time. I still had plenty of time before class began, because I came so early. I took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. I needed to make it known I was always have a bat on me so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. That seems kind of odd now. I don't know anybody who plays baseball professionally, but is that normal? Like, you carry a bottle like every single day around every, like, you know what I'm saying? Like every time. I don't think that's normal. So I still think that makes you kind of suspicious in the eyes of many people. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. I wasn't the academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. Oh man, it's just like me. I wasn't either of them. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly started swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-ups. I doubt anyone will think I was doing something out of the ordinary. Which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. The bat was by no means light. The weight will make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only play it at the moment. I needed to use this as a weapon will never come. Just carrying it around could deter attacks against me. At least that's what I hoped. If it truly is a conspiracy, I think that if you get like a gang of people against you, you know, oh hello, you're bad and yourself ain't gonna be enough, huh?
ケイちゃん
Kei-chan,
まだ何やってんの？
what are you doing? Being bombarded with such an hysterical voice, I jumped.
あケイチくん、野球部だよ。野球部だよ。
Wow, Keiichi-kun, are you on the baseball team? The baseball team? It was Rena and Mion.
先に行ったって言われて驚いたけど、
I was surprised to hear you went off ahead. What are you doing, Kei-chan?
見てわからないかよ。
Can you tell by looking? He's got an attitude now, huh?
だよ、甲子園だよ。
I'm practicing my swing for the championship.
別にダイエットでもいいぞ。
Can say it's a part of my diet if you want.
ダイエットってケイちゃん、
Diet.
そんなに太ってたっけ？
Kei-chan, are you really feeling fat?
ああ、知らなかったろ。実は三段バラなんだ。
Bet you didn't know. I actually have a beer belly. You know, actually, I do have a beer belly too. I'm not proud of it though. I should practice my swing as well.
もちもちでタプタプなんだぞ。
It's plump and jiggles.
もちもちでタプタプ。
Plump and
レ
jiggles.
ナ、変な想像しなくていいぞ。
Rena, you don't have to imagine something weird like that. To disrupt Rena from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily.
じゃあまあ、頑張って県大会を目指してち
Well
ょうだ
then,
いよ。
hope you make it to regionals at least. Yeah, like apart from saying that you're on the baseball team, you should probably join the baseball team.
おじさん応援してるわ。
This old man will cheer you on.
野球部の強い高校。
Regionally speaking, it seems that Oshima High is pretty
そ
strong.
こにいる左腕の亀田くんが。
They say they're sad, but Kamera-kun is amazing. Okay, we have a problem now because now they truly do are interested in baseball, and I am not. I just want the band to swing at them.
頑張ってね。
Good luck. Since they've already taken me for a baseball nut, oh well. Well, if I really did make it to the championship, it will be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and the catcher. I'd pitch the ball, then run past the ball, and I just threw and change over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed drowsily at the ludicrous image. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the pass against the ground. Damn it!
何笑ってんだよ、俺。
What am I laughing at? You know, I noticed that he still, mess with Rena's hair, right? Like, hey, don't think about that. That is something that friends will do. I pounded the ground over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveled into the bat strung my hands. If they smile at me like that, I'll don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself that, if they made me smile like that, I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. Did that kind of a split personality really exist? Like how Rena confessed to the doctor, were they simply being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Oyashiro-sama really exist? Or was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along and everything was all just Oyashiro-sama's fault.
相原圭一のバカ野郎。
You damn fool, Keiichi Maebara, come on now! I yelled out, drawing all the power from the pit of my stomach, and raised the bat violently into the air.
やるんじゃねえ。
Stop being so soft! As I screamed out with all my might, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. With every impact, my weakness was being beaten down. Smash! Forget! Smash! Don't be soft! Smash! Know your enemy! Smash! I let them kill me. Like hell I let them kill me. Okay. My shoulders heaving up and down from my racked breathing, I heard the first bell ring just as I calmed down. This is quite intense despite it all. Okay, we're back into the classroom. I gasped with a sudden realization. That was the final bell. What? As I felt all the tension drained from me, I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. I didn't feel like I was awake, but I didn't feel like I was asleep either. I couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but it felt like a kind of relief that this sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long will I have to keep on living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it as the sleeping hell slowly gnawed away at me.
ケイチくん、
Okay,
や
chicken,
ろやろ。
come on.
部活の時間なんだよ。
It's club time. Club time. The sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses.
ほらほら、ケイちゃん、ぼーっとしない。
Come on, Kei-chan, stop spacing out.
手を寄せて寄せて。
Bring your desk. Bring your desk. Everyone was moving the desk together as usual. That's right. It was happy fun club time, but I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag and I was prepared to go home. It was a weight-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say I'll be going home now.
なんだよ、ケイちゃん。
What's this,
今
Kei-chan?
日も直帰なわけ？
You planning on going home right away again? Mian sounded quite disappointed.
気分が乗らないんだ。
I'm just not in the
しばら
mood.
くほっといてくんないかな。
You just let me be for a while. The tone of the words that spilled from my mouth matched Mia's disapproving glare. It felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satoko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the move, she swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. I took that to mean that I could leave if I wanted. The collected gaze of the four of them, like tiny pins used to mount an insect in a display, held me in place. Rena was the one who cut through the heavy mood.
ケイチくん、やっぱり女の子と一緒に遊ぶのなんか嫌だったかな？かな？
I guess. Keiichi-kun, you just didn't like playing with girls. I guess. She said it in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. Dude, I felt it too. I hate this shit. I hate this. I don't like this. I don't want her to think that. If this pain was going to kill me, I wanted it to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest, violently tearing out the pins that held me in place.
そういうわけじゃねえよ。
That's not it at all. I'd only be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. I didn't speak a word to me as I left. Oh no. I feel so bad, dude. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already soggy from the sweat. Realizing that, I whipped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I became especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears pricked up and sought out for threatening noises and presences that could be closing in. And that was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. From what I could sense, it was just one person, but I had no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me like that car this morning until we were in a good location to assault me? Then it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. The wooded path crowded with trees responded with silence as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps would follow me. Just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well, meaning the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was, without a question, proof that I was their target. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. The Higurashi also joined in the dissonant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. Had 5 minutes passed? Or had it been like this for a whole 30 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then I'd make the first move, place my grip into the bat. I raised it up on my shoulder to be ready to swing it at any time. Hey!
いるんだろそこに。
I know you're there. With all my might, I screamed at whoever was hiding in the shade of the trees. But the presence in the shade didn't budge. Until the moment I found them, they had no intention of revealing themselves.
分かってんだよ。
I know
そこに
already.
いるのはよ。
I know you're there. I screamed out angrily at them again, but even still, they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself. With all due diligence, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal. Oh! Rena! When she realized I had found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but I wasn't going to speak a word.
なんか俺に用かよ。
Do you have any business with me? I wouldn't accept that sound and screamed that question at her.
別にその
Not really. It's just... Dude, I'm soft. I think I will get killed. Easily. I will legit just... I will die. And I understand why I would die. I just... I don't know what I would do if I was in this situation. I can't be mean. Rena was in a panic with tears welling up in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me.
はどうしたんだよ。
What about the club?
ケイイチくんがお休みしたからレナもお休み
Since you're not, I'm not.
関係ないだろ。
That shouldn't
な
matter.
んか気にしないで遊んで
Don't mind me and just play.
だってケイイチくんのこと心配で
But I'm just worried about you. Thinking about how I've been acting up until now, it wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior could have been perceived as strange. Serena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. I don't know if this is a conspiracy. I don't know if they are being controlled by demons. You know, if we go by the principle of they are being controlled by demons, then, you know, by Yoriyashiro-sama, then Rena, the human, is truly worried about me. But she's also possessed by a demon part. If this is a conspiracy, then she's a hell of an actress. Honestly, my god. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. Even if that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like try to tell me. She should have called out to me when I was leaving and gone out right with me. But Rena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps to deliberately try to hide her presence from me. Yeah, that's actually creepy. Then after she realized I noticed she was there, she held her breath and she tried to hide from me. Yeah, that is actually, come to think of it, extremely, extremely creepy. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her. But without a doubt, she was telling me,
もうついてくんなよ。
stop following me. Still glaring at Rena, I continued walking onwards. After I walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again. So I yelled at her once more. Yeah, like she yelled at me once.
ついてくるなって言ってるだろ。
I told you not to follow me.
だってレナの家も同じ方向だし
But my house is in the same direction.
さあレナが先を歩けよ。レナが見えなくなったら俺も歩く。
Then walk ahead of me. I'll start walking once I can see you no more. That actually makes sense. Although she could go to my house if I don't see her. Let's be careful about this. I move out of the way and wave my bat violently to urge her forward. I think she knows where I am.
ケイイチくんと一緒に
Oh, fuck off, don't do this shit. Oh, just get out of here, please. I'd like to go home together with you. Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, then you should have called out to me. Now you're just putting out random lies.
ごめんなさいごめんなさい
I'm sorry. It seemed that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. And without me saying anything, Rena had understood what I was feeling inside.
だったならほら。
If you get it, then go. I swung the bat, urging her again to walk. Then I looked back and forth between me and the bat and started walking hesitantly, then stopped
早
again.
く行けよ早く。
Go on then, hurry.
行くから
I'm going.
そのバットやめてよ
So please stop with the bat.
怖いの
It's scary. Rena watered herself while pointing at me holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat but still wildly opened the way for her. Go. There's no problem now, is there? There was nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly so as to not set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely after having barely moved away at all. Hey, don't stop. Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. Borrowing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. But I didn't even try to attack during that opening. Oh, that scared the fuck out of me. Oh, I was prepared for something. Attack me? No, she hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt so did the silence. At that moment, the voice inside of me immediately warned me of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. The smell of the air had changed. Without me realizing it, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It was like the air had suddenly become invisible concrete. That Rena and I were locked in this space. Rena didn't move an inch. Also unable to move, I stared at her back. Uh-oh. Oh. Rena was the first to break silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. Uh-oh. No, not again, please, God. It felt like I had just witnessed her shift from Rena into the other person who looks like Rena. But the voice was one I knew well, which filled me with a kind, bewildering pity. Carelessly, I felt relief upon hearing the pitiful voice. Well, excuse me, but can I ask you something? Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out desperately as she trembled. What? Well, why do you have a bat, I wonder? The question Rena asked was by no means unexpected. I can carry whatever I want. But you didn't have one up until today. Why so suddenly? It's alright if I decide to do something suddenly, isn't it? Is it strange that I have a bat? Because Keiichi, you're not the type of person to play baseball. What do you know, though? It's weird. You're weird, also. Rena? Couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for, and I was getting tired of answering her. I just suddenly got the urge to play baseball. That's so weird. It's weird. She answered instantly and annoyed me slightly. I just suddenly wanted to play baseball, and I wanted to practice my swing, so I'm carrying around a bat. What's strange about that? Strange. Weird. Definitely. Why you too? The ramblings are annoying me. Is that strange for me to have an interest in sports? Try to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Yeah, like she doesn't want to leave now, does she? Until my suspicions about Rena were cleared, I had no obligation to answer her questions. I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm more scared about Rena than Mion. She was the one who yelled at me. She was the one who left me on the middle of the street. And she was the one who invaded my home and didn't say a word to me, but only to my father, and eavesdropped my conversation with Oishi. Don't get so angry. I think I think that Keiichi has reasons to be angry at this point. Even though I feel so sad about the situation. I want Rena to be innocent. Right? I want the group to be innocent and to continue the happy story that they had presented us up until now, but I don't think that's a possibility at this point. Rena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology one after the next. Just one last thing. Please leave. Tell me one last thing.
これ以上話す気も教える気もねえよ。
I don't feel like talking anymore.
早く行けよ。
Hurry up and go! I yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache sorely. But even though she was afraid, she stubbornly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her final question.
なんでバットまで同じなの？
Why is even your bat the same? What did she mean by the bat was the same? I had no idea what she was talking about.
お前、何言ってんだ？
What are you saying?
なんでバットまで同じなのかなって。
I mean, why is even the bat the same? This is the same question you just asked me, but with no context again.
何を言ってんだか全然わかんねえよ。
I don't understand what you mean.
もっとはっきり言え。
Say it clearly. Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed.
だからどうしてバットまでサトシ君と同じなの？
I mean, why is even the bat the same as Satoshi-kun's?
サトシってえ？
Satoshi, being... Upon hearing the name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. By Satoshi, did she mean the student who transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be. And I had tried to cover it up by saying he transferred, but Oishi-san told me quite clearly that he was missing. He was the student who sat at my seat up until last year. He was believed to have been demoned away by Yoshiro-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The owner he lived with was killed in Ada of the Watanagushi by a drug addict. And not long after that, he suddenly vanished and now was missing. That Satoshi and I were... My gaze fell into the bat in my hands. Oh my god. So essentially, we picked up the bat of the kid who's missing at this point in time. Who would be? He was demoned away, just like the nurse that Tomitake-san was you know, going to town with, right? It was a bit difficult to see, but that was what was written out with white tape at the end of the bat. I see. So this was Satoshi's bat. So that's why Rika also recognized it.
サトシのバットだったんだな。
This was Satoshi's bat.
使ってなかったんで。
Since nobody was using it, I borrowed it.
いいだろそれくらい。
That's not a problem now, is it?
そんなことじゃないの。
That's not it. The way Rena said that, it seemed like this bat was something that should never be touched. Really? Like it was some sort of offering at a shrine or a memento of the deceased. I could only stand there, perplexed and unable to respond, when I continued speaking without waiting for a reply.
サトシ君の時とどうしてそんなにまで同じなの？
Why is it that you're doing the exact same thing Satoshi-kun did when it happened to him? Can you talk clearly and tell me what happened to her exactly? Because you know, and you told me that he was transferred. Then I was talking about more than just the bat belonging to
サ
Satoshi.
トシ君もそうだった。
It was the same with
野
Satoshi-kun.
球チームには入
He
って
joined a baseball team, but he didn't really like baseball.
ない人だったのに。
それが俺とどう関係が？
What does that have to do with me?
サトシ君もある日突然バットを持ち歩き始めたの。
Satoshi-kun also suddenly started walking around with a bat one
チ
day.
ームに入ってただけ
He
で
joined a team, but he wasn't the type to play sports. Okay? What about it? Closed my mouth before I could say that out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Rena was trying to tell us something important.
サトシ君もね、ある日突然一人で登校する。
Satoshi-kun also one day came to school all by himself all of a sudden,
ケイチ君みたいに。
just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然素振りの練習を。
Then one day he suddenly started practicing his swing,
ケイチ君みたいに。
just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然バットを持ち歩くようになった。
Then one day he suddenly began carrying the bat around him,
ケイチ君みたいに。
just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然。
Then one day he what? Then one day he suddenly what? Rena had swallowed her words. Speak clearly. Like, why are you're my friend. If you're my friend, why are you keeping me away from all of these very important subjects? Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. What was the meaning of this? Up until just now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. Dude, me too. I had never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything of what he'd done. My actions today should have been my own creation after all. After all the planning I had done. But they had been the exact same as Satoshi's. The Satoshi, no, more importantly. If both Satoshi and I acted the same way, then there was really a good possibility that what happened after will be the same.
ある日突然
Rena, yeah,
サトシはど
that
うした
day,
んだよ
what happened to Satoshi? Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to a guy in the past. Rena knew what was going to happen to me.
答えろよレナ
Answer me,
サ
Rena.
トシはどうしたんだよ
Satoshi, what happened to him? With that, I grabbed Rena's shoulder violently and forcibly turned her hair around to face me. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body. Fuck! It was that person that I didn't know. At least, it definitely wasn't the Rena Ryugu I've been talking to up until now. The voice just didn't have a trace of the trembling of emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced like a cold needle, the smile on her face that invoked an image of having been carved out of by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. We fucked up. We fucked up badly. We fucked it up. As if to remind me of the fear that from that time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face had filled my entire field of vision. Then, her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper, like the curve of a crescent moon. She grinned.
言ったよね
I told you,
ケイチくん
Keiichi-kun. After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again.
サトシくんはね
Satoshi-kun, you
転
see.
校しちゃったの
Transferred out. Transfer meaning what? Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was not previously aware of. My throat and lips dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. Honestly, dude, why don't you run? I would have run already. Okay. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. Rena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. But I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand, but right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat spread all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin.
しないよね
But you won't, will you,
ケイチくんは
Keiichi-kun? And I finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. But her question was missing something important and was incredibly vague. Once again, I swallowed hard, urging her on.
何をだよ
Do what? What did she not want me to do?
転校
Transfer. Oh my fucking shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus. That is insane. This is crazy. Okay. Satoshi and I had what? And my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi had really been in the same situation as I was now. Friends he had gotten along with had suddenly changed, and for no reason, at least none that I had noticed, planned to kill him. Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself and carried it around every day to practice his swing. Then one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a pickling sensation to course through my veins. Standing near my heart, it radiated outwards from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still at whatever he would transfer to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, what did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? It wasn't odd. It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my four-seal keychain. I stepped into the entryway just as I was about to take off my clothes. My shorts. My what the fuck? Sorry. I don't know why I went with clothes. I I was about to take it. You know, that's what happens when you play other types of visual novels. Anyway, just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me, like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? It had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space all the way through the door. There was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey, hey now, Keiichi. How do you know they're there even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing air. There's no other reason I hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Can you hear the sound of somebody blinking? Like that's crazy. Keiichi Maebara, there's no way you could hear that. My most base instincts were warning me of the presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. At the same time, I asked myself, there was nobody, then what was I feeling? As an uncomfortable sensation called up my mind. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there was somebody there? If there was nobody there, then when you turn around, will you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all those questions by looking behind me. But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Alright, I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. Didn't care how I went about it, just as long as I didn't have to turn around. If I had calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that wouldn't have resolved anything.
どなたですか?
Who is it? I spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them contemplating the response. I felt it. There's no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi. It's all in your head. Okay, that time I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody yelling. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired a private yet fitting solution to this current predicament. A scream. All the force in my body released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. Until the moment I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Close the door, bitch. Just close that shit up. Palm face up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended in the empty space. Couldn't be. They were invisible. They looked like they weren't there. But were they actually still standing there? As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully inverted into a torrent of aggression. That emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my stage of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm around in my hand, as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level strip will be the hardest attack to dodge. I remember reading something like that from a book about a sword machine or something. Okay? I brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation of metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The band slammed into the right wall, the trip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound into a strip to the left. The door of the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings whipped through empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact over the enemy. You could feel the panic emanating from the space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was emptying and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My scream shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing with even more destructive power. Crack! Without mercy or restraint, my balance strike with certainly fatal force behind it shouted at the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. But you cannot see them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat, the visible enemy but not there, dispersed. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. The way had only feigned retreat, and was now inside my house. Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence, but it was gone. I think he's insane. I succeeded in fending it off. At the moment, the tension drained from my body, and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All of the emotions I had been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remained composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all my idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something in there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition I dreamt up and in my confused states, but really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Compose yourself. But no matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon. And without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? Just one piece. When I asked who is it, they knelt as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I had been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Yashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rena and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Oishi-san and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of Yashiro-sama's curse, I wonder what would happen. Oishi-san very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, these words were pretty dependable, but as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, it suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oishi-san that this was the work of Yashiro-sama's curse, what would happen? I couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would, without question, that a void would span rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. With me having so few hours to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit in doing that. I better keep the facts or what just happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. there was still the ever so slightly possibility that I was actually confused when they thought I was when I thought I was composed, and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what happened? I'll be able to refute Oyashiro-sama's curse. But if I denied Oyashiro-sama's curse, then that would mean admitting that Rena and the rest of them were perpetrators. If I said that Rena and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I'll be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a dilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what has actually happened as a reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful would it be to know that I was delirious and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Oyashiro-sama's curse wouldn't exist and I would still be bestest buddies with Rena and the rest. I would have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I'd ever wished for such a thing. Okay. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I screamed out of the bed and went downstairs. I wouldn't answer, honestly. Fuck that shit. Hello, this is the Maebara residence. Keiichi, this is Mom. I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative. What? I don't mind having instant noodles for dinner. There's still a lot of them. The other day, we went out as a family and bought a whole case of the cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they refused since the individual packs were so expensive. So instead, I got a whole case of the mega size pork bone and ginger flavor ones I liked. Those sound like really good actually. My parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards were still full of them. So you see, there really isn't a need to go shopping, right? Keiichi, I'm not asking you to go shopping, but Mommy and Daddy have to go to Tokyo right now because of work. Huh? Right now. This was really abrupt. Yeah, honestly, really unexpected. No, we're already here. We left this afternoon. It's quite a distance from Tokyo to Inamisawa. Going it at full speed down the highway will still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. This is extremely unfortunate. I'm thinking you might understand since you heard us speaking last night, but it has to do with Daddy's contract. Right now things aren't going so smoothly. Now that she mentioned it, I did remember that they talked about all that time about his job prospects weren't looking so good. Daddy is real sensitive about these things, so if we leave things as they are, it will affect his work. Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions change as easily as the fall sky. You could also just say he couldn't take criticism. But something like that can be done over the phone. Keiichi, this is your father's job, so can you support him a bit, please? Anyway, it's just faster to talk about it in person, so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Keiichi, will you be fine on your own? I don't know, man. I don't think so. It's not like I die or anything. Keiichi, you shouldn't speak so lightly of dying. If there's something troubling you, just talk to us. I believe Mommy will be able to help you out. Really, I don't buy it. Yesterday I didn't bring it up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying. At least not while I still knew nothing. I will never allow it. I won't die. I won't. I'll survive even if I have to gnaw my leg off. Yeah. See you then. Tomorrow morning, make sure to wake up and eat your breakfast. And don't forget to take a bath and brush your teeth. Yeah, see ya. You can't wander like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings, but Tokyo was far, far away. They normally did things by the phone. The things that did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. I couldn't say those circumstances didn't feel strange or rather unnatural. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone, missing, vanished. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Yoshido-sama's course, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on the whole house was from my room on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and this was their chance. First I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. Similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside I would look at my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. Though I had made it too obvious, I needed to take it down. Uh-oh. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. Should be fine now. Ah! The garage. They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, so they had gone up to the Okinomiya station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This was no good. I panicked and rushed out the back to close the normally open garage door. Should be fine now. Ah, I needed to get the paper. Mom always goes to the paper. Since they left in the afternoon, the Indian paper was still out there. Are you sure you want to leave? Oh, no. My premonition was correct. Oh, no. You only need to pick it up. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the hot entry anyway. But this, for sure this time, it should be fine. Okay. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that from a little freakout was kind of bad, yeah. As you say, I tripped and fell, and the bag I was holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in the screw instead wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. Uh-oh. I remember that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. As I was going to get them, the phone rang once again. Hello, this is the Maebara residence. Oh, this is Keiichi-kun. Oh my fucking god. Keiichi is so dead. She isn't here at the moment. You idiot. The reveal that your parents are gone. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it. I think she'll be back soon. That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say that they'll call again or to tell her to call them when she comes back. Then that's fine. It wasn't anything important. Well then, sorry for the bother. The scenario I feared didn't play out. It was sighed in a sigh of relief. I'm scared. The call was fortunately in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home. Couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura. I couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? No. I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. You have to be kidding me right now. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. But since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver. Hello? Stop announcing this was the Maebara residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth boys, the person on the other side something goofy and lighthearted. Okay, so it's Oishi. So, okay. Goofy. Hello. My apologies for calling so late. This this is Oishi from the Okinomiya bookstore.
大石さんですか。
Oishi-san, is that you, Maebara-san? Good evening, good to hear you're doing well.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
Wait just a moment, please. I grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was, since there was no one else home. But I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san.
お待たせしました。
Sorry for the wait. How are things? Anything changed since then? Since then, when was that exactly? There's something about that bracing way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. Today I stayed home from school, met Oishi-san on the way back from the hospital, and we headed into town for lunch and had a talk. Then after that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out as well by them. Hello? Can you hear me, Bayabara-san?
あ、すみません。
Ah, sorry.
その、なんて言いました。
Yeah, what did you say? I asked if anything changed since last time. There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried.
と、
Not really. The words stopped in my throat. There was a ton of stuff that happened. All of it a bit baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may have never gotten another chance. This night, when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all.
大石さん。やっぱり俺、命を狙われている。
Well, Aisha-san, it seems that someone is after me. Really.
偶然の可能性もある。
It could all just be a coincidence, but that day I missed school when I was sick.
休んだ日、夕方に
The two of them came to check up on me. Which two?
ミオンです。
Rena and Mion.
そしてそこで
They started asking about how I had lunch with you. What
お見
next?
舞いってことで
They left me some maki and when they came to visit, but there was a needle inside.
偶然飲み込まずに
Fortunately, I somehow didn't swallow it.
これってやっぱり脅迫でしょうか。
I wonder, could that have been just a threat? About the needle.
よく見かけるような普通の裁縫針のようでした。
It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time.
通す穴が開いていて、
There was a hole to thread a string to. Not that, Maebara-san, the needle itself. That's evidence. It could be used as proof that they threatened you. Where is that needle? That's right, that's it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I touched the maki I had overlooked out of terror, but the needle was a valuable piece of evidence. Let's see, I threw the maki and needle at the wall together. If it was there, then it would have been on the living room wall. But my prudent mother had cleaned the living room wall, there was not a trace of maki left on it. It could be that I dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet. I frantically searched out by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desk, pulling up the carpet and flapping it around. But I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I didn't know what day they collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen and opened up the lid in the pail and poured out the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find a needle in the pile of trash. I was looking for a needle in the trash stack. I know, I tried running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'd be able to find it. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pile of trash with my hand. Phil flew out. There was nothing more disgusting than this, but it was not the time to be concerned about such details. I continued for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more truly, but I was still on the phone. Shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for too long. Then when Mom got back, I had to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad I fixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? Sorry, log. Was there a needle? Yeah. Okay, enough. I scrolled the words with a red pen. I then dashed back up at the stairs where I had been keeping Oishi-san waiting far too long. Hello? How did it go? I couldn't find it. I was really overwhelmed when it happened, and I see. It would be great if you could find it. Keep it safe. That's right, the needle wasn't the only incident. I thought about this morning with the hit and run. That isn't all. Actually, this morning, the band was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances I had at the time. Oh, fuck. Do you see the license plate? I can see Trent from here. Damn it! At the time, I just flipped up yelling at him, but I didn't look at the plate. I feathers of my part with the needle and the plate number. I was so focused on just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was. I'm sorry, I don't know much more than it was a white band. Nothing to fret about, my Abara-san. Anyone will be beaten up after being hit. I guess all of this really isn't a coincidence now, is it? Oshi-san started to hem and hoo over at the other end. I could imagine him folding his arms. Also, Rena is acting strange. Also, Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say with confidence that Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to it than just simply disappearing. Rena knows. She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year. What would that be exactly? Rena said I was the same as Satoshi. She said something to the effect that the way things are going, I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi. Fate, you say? Exactly what kind of fate did she say will befall you? Transferring out, she said. Transferring out? Rena says Satoshi transferred out. Yeah, what does that mean, Satoshi? So given how things are going with me, I'll transfer out too. Oji-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly. Are we sure? That was probably some sort of threat or maybe some type of warning. I thought so too. At that point I started to think, would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Yashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only explanation. Of course I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenarios. Whether it was Yashiro-sama's curse being real, or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all the villagers, Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious death. I seem to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little, meaning he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect, no, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight, I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I lost the security I felt I had just by my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some hot sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person that decided to use brute force, that is to gain entry. There were no other residences close to the Manabata residence. No one will be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament, and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wonder if I will still be here tomorrow morning, so I had to ask, right now. What was that sound? Because I had no idea when the next chance will come.
きたいことがあるんです。
Oishi-san, I have something I want to
隠
ask you
さないで
about.
くださいね。
Please don't keep anything from me. Sure, ask away. Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this was the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena, about what happened at her previous school.
実はレナの
Actually, regarding Rena's, I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first, but I finally realized it was the doorbell. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time the postman would be making a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in making it look like my parents were home. I need to look to answer the door.
あ、すみません。誰か来たみたい
Someone
です
seems to
ね。
be at the door. I'm going to see who it is. Oh my god, dude. Please. I guess, I see. My apologies. Should we end this phone call now? Dude, honestly, I would like it if you stayed to hear what the hell is gonna happen. That would be a
あ、
problem.
いえ、すぐ戻りますから。
No, I'll be back in a
電話はこ
second.
のままでいいですか？
Do you mind if I just leave the phone on? It's fine, I don't mind. I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down the door. Honestly, I will go ahead and pick up the other one and leave it there just so that he can hear. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch that it was the lady who called right before Oasis-san did. In which case, it will be one of the neighbors who's friends with my mom. I'll just say my mom isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That will be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. Someone didn't answer after you rang the bell so much. Normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Yeah. Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I had prepared for this moment. I had tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with. One of my mom's friends. Who the fuck is it?
こんばんは。
Oh fuck! No, 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 no. But Rena, please, please leave. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? What are you doing here? What are you doing in my house?
レナ、
There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy. Yeah, this is awful timing. Because it was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena. I wish I could have chalked this up to mere coincidence, but those unsettling words from Miyam several days ago echoed back to me.
さーてね。
There's nothing
おじさんにわからないこ
this
とは
old
ない
man
から
doesn't
ね。
know.
レナ一人。
Oh my god, Rena, what the fuck?
うん。
Are you alone, Rena? Yeah. Seems that Miyu wasn't with her, but that didn't change the situation at all.
何しに来たんだよ。
Why did you come here?
ねえ、ケイチくん。ちゃんと
No,
ドアを開
no,
けて話したい。
no. Hey, Keiichi-kun, I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Fuck
今
off.
は玄関に入っちゃダメなのかな。かな。
Can I come inside? I wonder. I wonder. It was true that speaking through a chain door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate. But it's 7 o'clock and you're freaking me out, so could you please leave?
うち夜は必ずチェーンかけてるんだよ。
At my house, the chain has to be on at
気に
night.
すんなよ。
Don't worry about it.
なら仕方ないかな。
Then it can't be helped, I guess. Then I looked at the ground sadly. But she kept smiling at least, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared more than the possibility of that hoodlums will assault me if I remove the chain was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain and having my friendship betrayed. As long as the chain was unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with it being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I'd removed the chain from her silent origin, she appeared to give up and trying to get into the entranceway.
あのさ、ケイ イチくん、ご飯食べた？
Bro, again, have you eaten, Keiichi-kun? I'm scared because well, why are you asking me? Do you maybe know that my parents aren't home? How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't there, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home, was woken up by the phone, and didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all that time talking. I was going to have a cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to.
まだだよ。
No, not yet.
それがどうしたよ。
What about it?
じゃあよかった。
Then good.
これ見て。
Look here.
お惣菜とか持ってきてあげたの。
I brought a bunch of dishes. Then I held out a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth.
お台所とか貸してくれれば、お味噌汁も
If I could
食べて
use
あ
your
げられるよ。
kitchen, I can heat up the miso soup and other stuff.
いいよ、そこまでしてく
It's
れなくて
fine,
も
you don't need to do that.
でも、お豆腐もお野菜もたっぷりなの。
But there's also a lot of tofu and vegetables in it.
ケイチくん、そういうの嫌いかな。
Does Keiichi not like that type of stuff? I wonder. There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup, with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock roots, and potatoes. Dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks
ご
incredible.
飯も持ってきてあげたから、レンジで温めればすぐ
I also
食べられ
brought
るし。
rice, so if you microwave it, it'll be ready to eat in no time. Without a doubt, rice meets miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese.
それからね、またお漬物を作ってきたんだよ。
Oh, that was a great line. That is actually like super. That is a super cool line to put in the middle of it. Also, I made some more
今
pickles.
度は山菜のお
I
漬
made
物な
sansai
の。
pickles this time. Before I had moved here to Hinamisawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. Those so-called supermarket vegetables taste rough and overpowering in comparison. If you had to describe them, then they were vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake in sansai. It was a common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were, they go so well with the fluffy white rice.
それからね、それからね。
And also, but wait, there's more. So delicious, it just seems so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. No way! No way, no way! No way! No fucking way! Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on with this. Though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such sensation had occurred just then, but the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. This happy Rena speaking of this charming dinner was dependent on one premise. And that premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house, meaning it was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't there. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange. Unless she knew. Rena, did she know that my parents weren't home? There was also the chance that this was a bluff. I had turned on the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents weren't there. There was a chance that Rena wasn't sure if my parents were home, but I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It was hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not, but there was no reason for me to confess to her right now. I should try holding on to the fact, or to that fact as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. As long as I didn't take it off, Rena won't be able to do anything to me. Don't open.
ありがたいんだけどさ、もう少しで夕飯ができるみたいなんだ
I'm
よ。
quite grateful, but dinner will be ready pretty soon. Is that so?
そうなの？
Is that so?
せっかくで申し訳ない
I know you went through all the effort and everything, but, well, unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly.
でもちょっとはおかずになると思うな。
But some of these could work as side dishes, I think.
悪いけど間に合ってるよ
I'm sorry, you have more than done enough
う
already.
ちのお袋ってさ
My mom always makes quite a few
おか
dishes,
ずをいっぱい作る
quite a few sides.
だから
So,
え、おかずあるの？
you have side dishes? With his mouth at butter and a cringe, I touched her question apologetically, but the feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was setting down dinner right now, but it didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact, and that I was aware of it as well.
ケイチ君も
So Keiichi-kun can cook. Okay, so she knows what. This is fucking awful.
何を作ったのかな？
What did you make, I wonder?
いやその別に俺が
No, Keiichi, you cannot keep saying that your mom is here. She knows. Then I had assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I'd made them, but rather that my mom hadn't.
本当に作ったの？
Did you really make them?
おかず
The side dishes?
ケイチ君が？
Did you, Keiichi-kun?
だから
It wasn't me who made
作ったん
them.
じゃないよお袋が作ったあいや作ってるんだよ
My mom did. No, she's making them. Right now.
だからさ
So you see, I'm sorry, but I can't eat what you brought.
食べられないんだよ
But I felt sour at the moment. At that moment, I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes.
ケイチ君のお夕飯当ててみようか？
How about I try guessing what Keiichi-kun's dinner will be?
なんだっていいじゃないか
Doesn't matter what I'm going to eat.
ね
Let's see. Conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. I felt like I was being interrogated.
そのお夕飯お湯だけで作れるんじゃないかな？
Oh man. Your dinner. I wonder, is it something that can be made with just hot water?
おいおい侮るなよ
Hey now. Stop with the insults. Can't believe you belittle my mom's traveling dinner like that.
そりゃもう
They get sold out. Full capacity already. It's that amazing. Tried my best not to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead, I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that
ケ
silliness.
イチ君
Hey, chicken.
本当にお母さんご飯作ってってくれたの？
Did your mother really leave you dinner? How do you know that? How do you know?
いやだからくれたんじゃなくて今
Keiichi, stop lying. Fuck. No, you see, she didn't leave me dinner. She's making it right now.
もうすぐ晩飯に
It's almost time for dinner. Rena had taken that assertion of mine that my mother was home, making dinner right now, and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became.
ねえケイチ君
Hey, Keiichi-kun. At that moment, an uncomfortable chill crept in from the gap of the doorway.
お母さんお家にいるのかな？
Is your mom home, I wonder? I couldn't keep up this charade anymore. Rena, she knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I come too far to admit that right now. Anyways, my parents were here and would be having the dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted. So I answered. I told her that she was here.
いるよもちろん
She is here, of course. I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming even more frigid, piercing me with their jelly glare.
どうして？
Why?
何のことかな
What do you mean by why? I tried acting casual, but that facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. The look, it informed me of Rena's response faster than she could open her mouth.
どうしてさっきから嘘をつくのかな？
Why have you been lying to me? I wonder. Bro, fuck this shit.
嘘なんか
I'm not lying.
嘘だよね。
That's a lie, isn't it?
嘘なんかじゃ
It's not a lie. Lies. Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Rena and I were still separated by the few inches that slightly ajar from the steel chain door could afford. But despite that, I was still being cornered. My house, which I considered a safe haven until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me.
ケイチ君のお夕飯当てるよ。
Shall I guess your dinner, Chicken? Let's see. I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents would not be here tonight. But it was still so strange that it had come to this. Even if she somehow knew that my parents weren't home, there was no way she should be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know?
ラーメン
Cup
当たる
noodles?
でしょ。
That's right, isn't it? That I was going to eat. Wait, the cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at this statistically, it was the most probable answer. That didn't mean she was
ラー
guessing.
メンだけじゃきっとお腹すくと思う。
I don't think you'll be fooled with just noodles.
ご飯とかも一
I
緒
think
に
heavy rice and stuff will definitely hit the
腹
spot.
持ちいいと思うよ。
Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Just coincidence. And I was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact that she was inferring that I was what I was thinking alarmed me, but it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If he was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that. They couldn't possibly exist.
好きなの？
Do you like
ラ
them?
ーメンがかよ。
Do you mean noodles?
うん。豚骨生姜味。
What? Then I indicated that the point of what was that? What was that? Then I indicated that the point my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken. Oh, okay. Okay, it was the game fucking me up.
ごめん、レナ。
Sorry, Rena.
なんて、
What did you say just now?
何が？
About what?
今さ、
Just now. Just asked me if there was something I
聞いた
liked,
んだよ。
didn't you? It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I pushed forward with that question. It was such a simple answer that that was why I wasn't able to comprehend it.
豚骨生姜味。
Pork bone and ginger flavor. I wondered how it appeared in the moments in my mind went completely blank until the moment I was able to recover. As my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction, I lost all sense of
なんで
balance.
そこまでわかるんだよ。
Why do you know that? I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena know even this? Not even curious as I mashed my head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. She didn't even flinch when she saw me do
確
that.
かに買った。
I certainly did buy them.
まとめて買った。
I bought a bunch at once.
俺が箱買いした。
For the whole case.
それがどうしてわか
How
るんだ。
could you know that?
なんでかな。
Why, I
不思
wonder.
議だね。
Quite strange, isn't
だ
it?
ね。
Isn't it? How could you dodge the question at a time like this? The change at the door suddenly were no longer protecting
ど
me.
うしてわかる。
How do you know?
なぜ知ってる。
Why do you know?
答えろ。
Answer me.
買ったのはセブンスマート。
You bought them at 7
だ
Mart,
よね。
didn't you? A shiver ran up my spine. I tried covering up with an angry facade.
なんでわかるんだよ。
Like I said, why do you know that?
ケイチ君の後ろずっとくっついてたから。
I was behind you, following you the whole time.
何を言ってんだよ。
What are you saying? Couldn't understand what she was saying that she'd be following me all this time. That's
レ
because
ナが
Rena
ケイ
was
チ君の
right behind
後ろに
Keiichi-kun's
ずっ
back
とくっついてたの。
the whole time. Like that night, the night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Soishi-san, I didn't even sense her being there, standing behind the door behind me. Standing there just like that, I remember that and it freaked me the fuck out. I think that was the first time that I started believing everything that was happening around me because my father confirmed it. He saw you
ケイチ君がいろんなラーメン選んでるとこ
when Keiichi was
ずっと見てたの。
picking out the noodles. I was watching the entire
いろん
time.
な種類を選んでたの
You
よ
picked
ね。
out so many different flavors, didn't
そ
you?
れでお母さ
Then
ん
your
が
mom
怒ら
got
れたの。
angry.
高いラーメンばっかり選
If you were going to pick the expensive ones, then you should just pick one type, she said. Then Keiichi-kun picked out that big box of pork bone and ginger flavor that he loves so much, didn't he? I like it too. Pork bone noodles. But I can never eat a whole big bowl myself. Fuck, are you... My brain was paralyzed during my senses. It might have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. With the fear being diminished, the fact enveloping my mind was feared away. Then I could understand that Rena was saying and started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards. That is a great metaphor. It's like with Drew, when I advanced. So, Keiichi-kun, can you open this? We can eat dinner together. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. So, okay? Excuse me. Do not do that shit. Rena's pales then their fingers screamed to the crack in the door one at a time, as if they had mind of their own, rattling the chain. She had unlatched the chain from the door, and a feeling of terror would have just exploded within me. Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. I tried my hardest to light the fuse to the powder to catch my heart. Fuck it, try it again and again. Clatter, clatter. But it doesn't light. It doesn't light. Open up. Keiichi-kun? Please go away. I beg of you. Please go away. How can you say something so mean? I wonder. Please go away. Go away. The powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering, it just exploded. I tackled the door. The force through the door had knocked Rena momentarily off balance. Couldn't hesitate there. I grabbed onto the door knob with both hands, planting my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. But all that slamming around, I so decided didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. And the source was that of Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wriggling, screaming around like the tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway. It hurts. It hurts, Keiichi-kun. It hurts. It wasn't a harsh shriek, but more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. Go away. Go away. I kept on pulling the door with all my might, my god. Didn't even realize that if I didn't loosen up my pull on the door at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her finger out. That was why the door wasn't closing. It really hurts, Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry if I was messing around too much. I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she had done up until now. It didn't change anything. It hurts. It hurts. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Rena couldn't leave even if she wanted to because I trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even screaming. Sorry. Please, just open the door a little bit, Keiichi. I know that she's our enemy, but she has to fucking leave. Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain, but like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over and over. Go away, go away, go away. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. I pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from their imprisonment in the doorway. The moment that happened, the door closed soundly, and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately. It made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena. You were... But why did you do what you did? What did you did? What? Why? No! No! Absolutely not! Do not open. Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely and nothing else. Bro, do not open that fucking door. How did she knew? Why she admitted to stalking me? After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry. Those pitiful words, they will be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all. But that wasn't out of any sort of malice. I just felt a sort of hasty sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Poor Mion had threatened me at this doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know. And just now, at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out, and not even opened the door. My major plans hadn't helped at all. In Amisawa, it was impossible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get as far away as possible from Rena. One step, two steps, with each one, her sniveling apologies became more distant. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was probably no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed. It was the receiver. Ah! Oh, thank God. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Maybe that my clock had run out of batteries? Sorry. I talked with Rena for so long. How did it almost no time pass? But the hand on the clock was ticking forward 1 second every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time, which felt frozen, began moving once again. Hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. No, not at all. I didn't wait that long. It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Noishi-san was different. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. It drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was. When I came just now. Did she come to play? Boy, do I have news for you. I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san, but I didn't need to right now. Right now, I needed to know about Rena. That's alright, I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. The one thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure something out if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather, I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything I definitely want. Regarding Rena Ryugu-san, I did a bit of digging. Yeah, well, it wasn't much. I understood that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit, man, I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss it with you since you're her friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'll be very interested in what I have to say, though. I spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. And then I said it. I think Rena Ryugu is suspicious. Even if the past incidents were from Yashiro-sama's curse, Rena Ryugu is involved. Do we have any sort of proof? The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Going on the fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait, disappointed to be, but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed. You can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof. I stuck that barb in there, and Oishi-san loved a roundabout ways of saying things. He understood me just fine. It's fine, Maebara-san. I'll protect you. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed and my coach will be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation, but it's all over for me when I die. Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. I may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relay to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous situation. So please tell me. Tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out. Not too far in the future, I'll probably also do what Rena called transferring out as well. But you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't been able to find Satoshi's body yet. Alright, Maebara-san, calm down. I was already suppressing my agitation even without Oishi-san having to tell me. It wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust in the police. It would seem that I could only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect himself. Then I at least wanted to know about what happened before Reina transferred schools. You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. Right now, to me, there is nothing that I'll find uninteresting. Please. There are a few things I need you to agree on. Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it might be true. Are you still interested? It might not be true. I don't understand what you mean. There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chain of deaths in Inamisawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Renaryu has never been linked into any of the investigations. Basically, you see, this isn't an investigation of Rena done by the police. And it's a personal inquiry, is what you're telling me. Yeah, this will make things a lot quicker since you understand. A lot of it is from either phone calls or meeting and interviews, so they are incorroborated. I'm asking you to take this all with a grain of salt, is what I mean. Do we have an agreement? All of it is just from what you heard. Yes, my apologies. It's all my personal investigation, you see. The thing. Before you said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that again. Did you say that? Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line. I told you that too? Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations or responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all. Please tell me, Oishi-san. Understood. Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of hers. It seemed that Rena lived in Yamizawa a long time ago. She had moved to Ibaraki Prefecture just before starting elementary school. Then, following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor. It was Yashiro-sama. This was everything I knew. There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, Maebara-san. Then what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was the incident right before she transferred back to Inamisawa. The incident what Rena was responsible for, and what she divulged to the doctor afterwards, correct? After you learned about that, you started suspecting Rena and the others, didn't you? Yes, I did suspect them. So they're the ones after all. No, that's not what I meant by suspecting them. Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. Then who did you suspect? That it was Yashiro-sama. that Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists. His laugh was quite dry, certainly not the kind that will make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance, the course of events leading him to delve into Rena's past. Just then there was thunder in the distance and a heavy rain started pouring down. It came without warning, a downpour fiercely beating the ground. I had left the window in my room open a crack and let the heat out. The bound wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap widely. What is it? Nothing. It's only sudden raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. Bro, what if this curse is real? That's what they're hinting right now. Why did it suddenly start raining? I got up while still on the phone and grasped the window. I said at the beginning of it was an incident, but because... Sorry. But because neither the school nor the victims filed charges, the police were never involved. So you see, those involved were very reluctant to talk. Regardless of there being a victim who had one eye bitten so badly that I had permanent damage. It could have been the school or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public. Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? Maibara-san? Can you hear me? Alright, so Rena beat the fuck out of a person and it got permanent damage, but the psychologist didn't ever want to say anything about what happened or what caused it. There was a figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even in this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Ah, my god, dude, come on, no way. She's standing there, both arms dangling at her side. In one hand was a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth. Her eyes focused on my room, focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth, with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be that at this time I was more enthralled by Rena instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, or would have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? Was she repeating to me? What was she saying? And why was I, right up against the window, fixated on her? Answer before he hangs up. Can you hear me? Hello? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What's the matter? Even in this torrential downpour, when I was still apologizing. The other self inside me drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apologies still reached my ears. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, would you forgive me for that? Please stop. I'm sorry. Damn it! Why should I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. Won't forgive. Won't forgive. Won't forgive. I won't forgive. Mabara-san. If you can hear me, then please respond. Hello? Hi. I really don't know what to say about what just happened. I'm gonna say you though. I feel so sorry for Rena, but it doesn't take away from the fact that she's still a villain in my story because she has been stalking me. And, you know, she has acted weird and violent before. Let's view the new tips. Let's go to the 7 Mart immediately because that's where we bought the noodles. What's this, Keiichi? So many. There's no reason to get all the different kinds, sister. I flopped at all the different colored cup noodles balls into the cart. Yeah, he wants to try all the different types. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi. Buy them in a big case, it's cheaper. Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had shown his hand into the ring, I'd have to compromise. Then I'd only get one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was just thinking as a formality. I'd already given up on inside, but I wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can pick, then mommy will pick for you. You didn't have to rush me. I quickly researched the case of noodles from what I want. Pork bone and ginger large carb. Hey Keiichi, can you get a more normal one? Or let mom pick. She'd err on the side of safety to get soy sauce or salt flavored. So when I plunked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart, mom looked back at me with a expression as if to say, "This one's." To show her this was my last compromise, I began explaining the choice. You get a large shaping, but the flavor isn't too strong. I remember insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around in my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching, but of course I couldn't find her. Was she spying me from a blind eye spot? I go through the sound and presses again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They're all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't there. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a bad word like this. Probably. Right before contradicting with definitely. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check it. But the world had moved on, and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying the frightening shadow on my back, I was swiftly running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad mouthing my bum. But there was that pressing constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now, after the fact, was horrifying and repulsive. Tip tap. By listening to the moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit pat with every step. That is, oh my god. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit pat were right behind me. Me running around gleefully in that close up moment in time, but I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's what I remembered. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That's why I didn't turn around. That moment the pit pat those footsteps were following me at the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had run at the time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That's why it made no sound. That was all. At the time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, I followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark, a sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turned on the light, except my body couldn't move, as if I was shown into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self hair stood on the end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved, so you shouldn't be moving either. And I couldn't move, so you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Did the sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck prickled up on the end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? Like how the presence would move me behind me. I quickly realized I couldn't move. It's just that I was scared and I didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable at this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop. It began to administer a pain like a needle being struck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I wasn't able to vocalize. I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What is this? Just a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurp juices, and finally discover that it was an apple. My mom began to process the scene before my eyes by eating an apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew. I slurped the juices and discovered the apple, meaning that what was in front of me was. What the fuck? Split personality is the next one. Then I'm gonna comment a little bit about the game.
よく映画などに登場しますが、簡単
Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism. It's a form of escape, correct. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but is believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability. For people who imagine themselves as wealthy, it's a form of escapism, is it not? It's also not a form of personality disorder. I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all. Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is escape? That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree. There is no consensus. Then, is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon, something not fully comprehended in a psychiatric field? Fortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in the future research. But it's sort of cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities? You're fucking stupid for diminishing mental illness. Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed or may have had abnormal mental development. Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. Person A here experimented abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Let's watch a video of him. Right after these commercials. Fucking stupid pieces of fucking shit reporters that make mockery of mental illnesses just like that. They truly just don't give a single fuck. And I fucking hate that. The split personality tip. It's obviously hinting at perhaps Rena having that, and perhaps Rena having been abused as a child. I know nothing about her life before meeting her, other than the incident after moving away from Hinamisawa. Apparently, she was here before. Um, Maybe they're considering that, but that doesn't explain Mion. Though Rena has been the protagonist in this whole thing. Um, like honestly, I don't know. What about? I don't know, man. It's a difficult situation to decipher. Honestly, it is. Uh, Again, the tension keeps rising, and things are getting even more interesting as we move along. We will continue this for sure. So please do subscribe, comment, like, and do all those things that many other YouTubers ask you to do. Just if you enjoyed the series, let me know, and please, obviously, um, go ahead and check out the other episodes as well. And let me know if you enjoyed, so that I have more incentive to continue. Um, Amazing story so far. I'm in disbelief of what happened because I feel sorry for Rena, but at the same time, she has done so many things that are extremely weird. Specifically, admitting to stalking me and being there listening to my phone call and following me. The many things, many things have gone wrong, honestly, and I'm very scared about what's gonna happen next. For now, though, I'm gonna end it right here. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully on the next one. Thank you for taking this trip with me to Hinamisawa. Truly a fantastic ride so far. Thank you.